Okay, we are back. Oh, back again. Obviously, I do a lot of these breakdowns, right? And we just keep the ball rolling, as they say. But I mean, sympathy with this story. And this is a story from the Hindustan Times. Indian origin student Bandna Bhatti or Bhatti paralyzed after tragic fall at UC Berkeley. And then it went on to say something in quotes there, but it cut off. And this is the story here. It's interesting because it says baddie, right? No pun intended, but yeah, kind of a baddie, right? A 21-year-old Indian origin student, she became paralyzed from the waist down after falling from a fraternity house balcony. Okay? This is what they're saying. And this was a fraternity house party at the University of California, Berkeley, just weeks before graduating. So she's left paralyzed from the waist down. Wow, man, that sucks, right? Bandna Bhatti, it's probably Bhatti, right? I don't know. But suffered a devastating fall after she slipped from an external staircase at the Phi Kappa Tau house around 1 p.m. April 19th, according to Fox KTVU. They say she was attending a fraternity party on Cal Day, an annual open house for incoming freshmen and their families. Okay. After the tragic fall, she lay there for 15 minutes before she was found by people and taken inside. Once she was brought in, those who brought him inside were asked to leave. But this is a she, right? So it looks like a misprint in the article. But we're asked to leave by the party, by her friends. Her family claimed they left, and her friends carried Bandna to her apartment without knowing the extent of her internal injuries. And that's all they tell us in the article, but I have a clip here. Right here. I don't even know what page I was just showing you, but we're going to try to play this clip, and hopefully I don't have to edit it out because it's like hit and miss with the volume on these.
A UC Berkeley student who was just...
Oops, we'll try that again.
A UC Berkeley student who is just weeks away from graduating is now recovering from an injury that has left her paralyzed. Chronicle's Gail Long reports.
Bandna Bhatti was just 3 weeks away from graduating from UC Berkeley with a degree in data science.
So her name's Bandna Bhatti. So you get the B in the B, and you see UC Berkeley. So Bandna Bhatti, Berkeley.
Science, but now she is recovering at the hospital from a devastating fall that's left her.
And they're saying data science. Look.
Away from graduating from UC Berkeley with a degree in data science.
A degree in data science. Okay, so watch how that syncs up here in a bit.
But now she is recovering at the hospital from a devastating fall that's left her paralyzed from the waist down. Chron 4 spoke with Bhatti's mother off camera on Friday. She says her daughter is in good spirits and is surrounded by family and friends at her bedside. The Cal senior reportedly fell from the Phi Kappa Tau fraternity on Piedmont Avenue while attending a party last month.
I've heard stuff like this happen before, but I feel like normally things are pretty safe, at least in my experience. I've never experienced anything unsafe, especially wherever I've been. So I know freak accidents happen, and I think that's seems like that's what it was.
I feel really bad about what happened.
Adrian Morales is part of a fraternity at UC Berkeley.
Usually they are really safe. We have a great IFC program here, really great risk practices, but sometimes occasionally things do happen, and I think it's up to the school and the decision of the fraternity to you know, elevate and see if they want to elevate her or not.
A statement from a university spokesperson
Elevator. That's interesting.
And I think it's up to the school and the decision of the fraternity to, you know, elevate and see if they want to elevate her or not.
A statement from a university spokesperson reads in part, quote, UC Berkeley is aware of an ongoing police investigation regarding reports of a student being injured near or at a fraternity. Our thoughts are with the student, their family, loved ones, and friends during this time. Meantime, the family is raising money for medical bills. According to a GoFundMe post, Bhatti is hospitalized with severe injuries, including a spinal fracture and bleeding near the brain. Her friends will also be raising money through a half marathon this weekend. Reporting from Berkeley, Gail Ong, Cron 4 News.
I pointed out in a previous breakdown how there's been a lot of stories with falls lately. The guy at the baseball game, the Pirates and the Cubs, he fell over Clemente Wall onto the field. There's been a lot of basketball stories lately where right in the title it'll say one team fell to another. Jason Tatum in the NBA playoffs, there was a story about how he fell during the game but then returned. Also, Jimmy Butler took a nasty fall in the playoffs. So we get another fall story here. We also had a Ralph Lauren decode on a fashion show where it was like a fall line of clothing that he had. That was also trending recently. So we get this other fall story, and these are fraternities, right? Kind of like, organizations like, you think of secret societies, they do perform like ritualistic activities, right? These brotherhoods, these sisterhoods. So that is kind of interesting as well. Look at this. And it's nice out here in Arizona. I have the window cracked. You may hear the birds possibly chirping out there. But man, it's like borderline chilly out here in Arizona. And we're into May now. Normally it's steaming hot. So we got some nice weather right now. But look at this. UC Berkeley, 44. In the language. Tragic fall, 44. And she's paralyzed, so it's not a RIP, but kill also equals 44. Look how kill has 64 as well, like tragic fall. So it's not a death, but the two usually would go hand in hand, right? But you see UC Berkeley 44, tragic fall 44. That was the point really I was trying to make with that right there, okay? And Bandna Bhatti, right, with this tragic fall, okay? And to be honest, we don't even know if it's like a real character. They give us the story, you hear the people speak on it, but we really don't know if these are actors. We don't even know if this is a real person. This could be like AI generated too. And I hate to come from that angle and that aspect, but don't they talk a lot about AI with us, and we do know there's a website out there that creates these images of these people that aren't real, and you get Bandna Bhatti and Berkeley, so you get the language syncing up there with the B's as well, right? Here's UC Berkeley right here. So that's California. It says Indian origin student Bandna Bhatti. Look at Indian origins, got 75 like her name. This is why I question. And look, you see how the image, like it's a questionable image that they give us. There's a few different images, but it almost appears like it could be like just AI generated. Is that the right term, AI? But it appears that it could possibly not be a real picture. You know what I'm saying? And again, I hate to come from that angle, but if you look at the image, it is definitely questionable, you know? And again, we get a few images here. But besides the image maybe possibly being questionable, uh, we have this code that exposes the story as well, right? So we attack this story from multiple sides, okay? But you see the 75 with the name and the 75 with Indian origin, okay? And this is the language, that's even the same reverse reduction cipher. And you see, this is a 21-year-old Indian origin student. And this happened on a 21 date numerology, April 19, okay? 4 plus 1 plus 9 plus the year 25, 2 plus 5. Even Indian origin, that's the reverse cipher. You just reverse the alphabet and you apply the numerical value, okay? So Z would be 1, A would be 26. Indian origin, you get 201, and that's like 21 as well, with the 21-year-old. This happening on a 21 date numerology, slipped from an external staircase. That sounds kind of shady as well. I mean, if you look at the video on this channel with the man taking the fall, Clemente Wall at the Pittsburgh Pirates game, he like jumped over the wall, which it was questionable. They say he fell, he jumped over it. But they say slipped, okay? So it's like, all right. But you get all these 21s. Look, even Bhatti, her last name, 102 in that same reverse cipher. So you get the 1 and the 2 again. And look, 201, 102. So it's just reversed. Indian origin and Bhatti. Fraternity house balcony, 120. So you get the same numbers. You see, 201. 21-year-old, 21 date numerology, 102, 201 reversed. You just mix up the 201, 102, you get 120. Fraternity house balcony equals 120, 120. You see that? Falling from a fraternity house balcony. Even fraternity house party, you get 112. And look at the organization here. Phi Kappa Tau or Tau, whatever. Look at that. You get 120. So fraternity house balcony 120, Phi Kappa Tau 120, fraternity house party 112, which is like 12. She fell at least 12 feet and landed on a narrow passageway outside the frat house. 12 feet is 21 reversed. It's a 21-year-old paralyzed from the waist down on a 21 date numerology. So all of these 12s and 21s, heavy, right? Super heavy. That's why I question this. Because what's going on with the language? And they say she lay there for 15 minutes before she was found by people and taken inside. Fraternity house balcony equals 105, like 15. Indian equals 51. 15 reversed. Okay?
21-year-old Bandna Bhatti was weeks from graduating from UC Berkeley with a degree in data science, but now everything's on hold after she fell at a fraternity and ended up being paralyzed from the waist down.
She cannot.
Before we go forward, remember, weeks away from graduating, and they said a degree in data science. Look at this. Data science has 39 like the last name Batty, 39 like Indian. I added that late. You see? Data science 39, like the last name and like Indian. They say Indian origin student. First thing they tell us.
21-year-old Bandna Bhatti was weeks from graduating from UC Berkeley with a degree in data science, but now 21-year-old Bandna Bhatti was weeks from graduating from UC Berkeley with a degree in data science, but now everything's on hold after she fell at a fraternity and ended up being paralyzed from the waist down.
She cannot walk.
Sukhbati's been at her daughter's bedside at Highland Hospital in Oakland, struggling to come to terms with it all. It happened at Phi Kappa Tau
Highland Hospital, high, like it was a fall from high above.
Fraternity on Piedmont Avenue in Berkeley on April 19th. It was Cal Day, UC Berkeley's open house, and the fraternity, like many others, was having a party that Saturday. Body was on an external metal stairway and slipped off, falling at least 12 feet and hitting her head before landing in a narrow passageway outside the fraternity. Her family says she was found there about 15 minutes later, taken inside the fraternity, but then I'm told members of the fraternity told those who brought her in to get out. Friends took her to her apartment nearby, not
Sounds shady, man.
realizing she had suffered spinal injuries, broken bones, and a brain bleed. 911 wasn't called until some 7 hours later. The CEO of
They
the
didn't call 911 till 7 hours later.
National Phi Kappa Tau fraternity tells KTVU they're deeply concerned by what happened and are cooperating with Berkeley investigators. Bhatti's two older sisters and parents are hoping she will bounce back, believing her experience in 5 sports will help see her through. Her friends are running a half marathon on Sunday to help raise funds. Mom's determined with one goal in mind.
She will walk. I will make sure she walks. I'll do whatever it takes.
Her family has set up a GoFundMe to help with medical costs. You can find the link at ktvu.com.
Look at all the bees. Did you see all those bees? Man, they say they didn't call 911 until 7 hours later. Okay, and I mean, this is Bandna Bhatti, and you get BB. Remember, I already mentioned it. Pittsburgh Pirates, you get PP with that fall. Clemente Wall. Why is there football popping up here? But look, 20-year-old Kevin Markwood is recovering after fall at PNC Park. So Pittsburgh Pirates PP, Bandna Bhatti PP, and you can look at that breakdown on my channel. We get all these falls. And think about Wall. You could think about Trump Wall as well with that. But Jason Tatum fell. And I did that breakdown. Jason Tatum falls down. I think that was against the Orlando Magic. It says, after a scary fall, remains in the game. Jimmy Butler fell, like I mentioned earlier. Went down when fouled by Amen Thompson. Right? A lot of these fall stories. And Ralph Lauren, I'll bring that up. Right here. Ralph Lauren stays closer to home, this time with intimate Manhattan gallery show. Fall/winter collection. You see that? Trending, and I did all of those stories, okay? And something else with the name, you see Bandna Bhatti, kind of like a bat, like baseball bat, back to that Pittsburgh Pirates fall. That would have been interesting if it was the Cleveland Guardians playing, wouldn't it have been? Because they used to be called the Cleveland Indians. That would have been interesting, right? But you see, that's all they give us with this story here. And that was a lot of 12s and a lot of 21s. Okay? So, right? So let me know. I mean, what do you think about that? And I hope you got to see some of the video and I don't have to edit it out because sometimes the volume doesn't play. But this what I'm presenting here is more important with these connections, right? Look at all the 12s and 21s that hit here. You get rid of all those zeros, so it's all 12s and 21s. Even the 112 is like 12. 12 feet fall, 21-year-old, 21 date numerology, paralyzed from the waist down, fall F, fraternity F, balcony B, Bandna Bhatti B, B, UC Berkeley, Berkeley B. Okay, you see how the language comes into play here. And tragic fall again, 44 like UC Berkeley. Not killed, but you see how that could connect right there. Right? So that's the breakdown. Daily Decodes 812. You can call me Math 2 Con. You can call me Matthew. Call me what you will. Just know that you got this information from me. Indian origin student Bandna Bhatti paralyzed after tragic fall at UC Berkeley. They probably were going to go on to say she faces a difficult recovery. And they said right before she was going to graduate or whatever. And it was Cal Day, so you had a lot of these parties going on, I guess. So that's the breakdown. Sympathy with the story, right? But what's up with this code? Until next time, peace.